All right, I'm getting a late start on this today because day off and I'm just sleepy. That happens. So here's what's going to happen with this thing. Number one, we're going to put the TV Jones pickups in the appropriate slots. Number two, I don't like this volume knob. Actually, I've got two volume knobs for these. They're hooked up to each of the pickups, and I only need one volume knob. This guy gets in the way of my my flailing strumming. So he's probably not going to get put back there. Then this little switch here, what it does right now is it switches these pots. So when it's up, I guess this is the bridge and this is the neck. And when it's down, see I did that backwards, this is the neck and this is the bridge. And I might be able to repurpose this for just switching between the pickups, so we might do that. I have the neck separated from the body. Here's a couple things to note. One, we need to do something about this. This came with a guitar. Of course, the guitar came at a good discount for having that, but I need to fix that. I need to patch that up. Not worried about painting it yet. I'll figure that out another day. Here's the neck plate. This is a great thing. You can see these things never get clean until you take them off, and then there's always plastic until you take it all apart. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Here's the neck. The neck's pretty awesome. I mean, it is this Meteora neck. I like it. It's got the badging on it. I've already put locking tuners on it. Here's the one thing I don't know what I think about this Palfaro fretboard. Maybe not a fan. It had light dots. I had to go over the dots with a Sharpie in order to actually see them. Kind of weird. Anyway, that's what's up here. Getting started. Let's start with my moment of panic. I couldn't find jeweler screwdrivers to remove the volume and tone knobs, and I totally forgot that I had this kit, this nice cobalt kit, dedicated to my guitar stuff. I just forgot, but I found it, and all is better. So I removed the volume and tone knobs. I removed the pickup little pickup holder things, and you can see in here there's wires that have to go to the pickup selector switch. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do that, but we're going to remove the pick guard and figure out where to go next. All right, let me show you a couple things. I like to try to keep the screws and everything organized so that I can put something back together. That's the first thing. But here's the second thing. Let's take a look at this. This is underneath the pick guard, and I'd like it simpler. Here's the funny thing about this guitar is it was a demo model. It had a little dent in it, and I have to slap the neck pickup occasionally to actually get it to produce any tone. And I attribute that to we have a rat's nest underneath. I wish Fender, I wish you would design these things to be simple. I really do. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to simplify this a whole bunch. So I had a second moment of panic. I couldn't find my small socket set, and I had to turn the house upside down to find it. That's pretty crazy. I should just have a guitar tool kit for all this stuff. That's something for the future. I didn't show you guys this before, but I like to keep my parts organized, as I pull them off. So here's the little knobs for the potentiometers. There's the neck plate. There's the screws for the humbucker mounts. In here, the screws for the pick guard. That's the output jack. I'd actually like to replace it with this because I like these jacks a lot better. But this fortunately, barely doesn't fit the hole. So I might have to bore out that hole. We'll see. I'll make a decision on that quick. And then, of course, I've got that repair to do. So let's talk about wiring real quickly. I like to hook all my pickups up with these kinds of connectors. And Fender actually did this with their Ultra series. Kind of a weak attempt, but they do use these pin connectors in the Ultra series, although they hand soldered them. You don't need to do that. You can start with connectors that exist that are long enough and use these. You can use the male-to-male adapter, so I just cut off what I need and then plug them in that way. and that's really secure, and it makes it so, you know, in the future, if I want to connect or disconnect the pickups or replace them, I can do that. So I like to do that. I also like to do that with the output jack, and then if I keep that switch way up top, I will probably have that connector for it too. So I took a couple of wires off of these, and I soldered them on to clipped off ends of the wire that came with the pickups. And so you can see that this will be the finished product here, which will be a nice little end for this. I'm actually going to put some heat shrink on this loose stuff to keep it together, and then that'll be finished. And the best part of this is, even if you make just a little mess, you can hide it with heat shrink. So I did that here at the ends. Does this focus well? Yeah, it focuses real good. But I used a little bit of heat shrink to hide the male adapter to the two females coming in, and same there. And a little yellow heat shrink to hide what's underneath that. The next decision I have to make is what to do with this little push switch that is glued to the pickguard. On the original electronics, this switch basically switched the volume pots between the bridge and the neck pickup, so you could switch them back and forth. But I think I can use it as a pickup selector. Although I wouldn't have the middle position, but I never play the middle position. So what's it matter? And it would be really simple. It looks like we have a single pole double throw switch, and I really only need one throw of it. And actually, before I recorded this, I tested it with a multimeter, and that's what it turns out to be. So those three wires on the right, I'm going to use those to wire up my pickup selector. All right, getting to work this morning. I've already scuffed the area and put some Elmer's wood filler where I need to build this thing up, and in a few hours I'll be able to sand that down and at least get the surface right. I haven't decided what I'm doing about paint. I'm thinking maybe black matte for this whole area here might look kind of nice and easier than trying to match the red. And then over here I bored out the hole so I could get the electrostatic jack into the output jack hole, and unfortunately it's going to take me probably another 10 minutes of gently prying this thing out to pry it out. It's a very snug fit so that I can hook it up. So that's what's going on with that. And then just generally, this is the mess that I have this morning, so I have to do some cleanup before I really get to work. So the output jack is installed. I have a couple holes to fill with toothpicks later. I made a little plug for it, so if I ever take this thing apart, I can detach the pick guard. That's the important part. Over here, fill went well. That's been sanded with 220 sandpaper. Haven't decided what I'm going to do to paint over it yet. I'll probably take this down to like 800 grit sandpaper for the area that I want to repaint, and then paint it. I'm thinking matte black. I don't like the relic look. That's just me. Next up over here, here's our pick guard. We have a 500K pot for the volume pot up top. We're going to reuse this switch, this little push switch for the pickup selector, and I have a no-load audio pot with a detent. This is 250K. That's what we're going to use. All right, she's all wired up. I want to show you my favorite piece of the wiring on the green and yellow wires. This is my replaceable tone bleed network. So the three types of tone bleed circuits, I can just plug them in, and I have them made on black tape with clear tape over, and the resistor and capacitor soldered there. Over here you can see here's my pickups. I'm going to plug this in right now. I've already done this, so I'm not going to be surprised, but you are. And you hear a little bit of a buzz. The reason you hear the buzz is because this isn't grounded yet. I'm going to tap a pickup. Okay, that one's not on. You can hear that one is. And I'm going to hit my switch over here. to switch out. And now there we go. The body is reassembled. Let's do a quick test of it. So I've got, let's see here, got my wireless plugged in. Let's hit the bridge pickup. Let's turn down the volume. Let's hit the bridge pickup. A little more. There we go. Let's go to the neck pickup. Turn down the volume. A little more. There we go. And it seems to be working. So I'm going to put it together. I'm going to tune it up. And I'm going to play it a little bit. Let's do some first sounds. So I haven't tuned it up. I've just added the strings and tightened them a bit. And we'll plug this in. Oh yeah. Ooh, that's wild. Neck pickup. How about that? All right, time to tune it up and see how she plays. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Time for some tones. Let's try with the neck pickup. So I'll punch the neck pickup in.